everyone, and welcome to The Defender of the Week, a podcast that talks about all the nitty-gritty in the book, The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I'm your host, Richard Lehman.
And I'm Grace Smith, and we'll be talking about angst in chapters 6 through 10. Let's start with chapter 6. In chapter 6, Stratlater gets home from his date, doesn't want to talk about it, so they jump straight to Holden's writing. Stratlater hates it because it has nothing to do with the room and just straight up says that's why he's failing. But Holden should have specified. So obviously they're now at each other's throats because the tension's high and Holden may or may not be in love with Jane, but that's a whole other thing. So Holden, being the petty person he is, smokes in the room, and of course his lovely roommate hates that.
Also, it's worth noting that smoking is illegal at Pensy.
Yes, it is.
And Stradlater, the goody two-shoes he is,
Well.
reminder, he was in his coach's car with said girl, so goody two-shoes.
Yeah, sure.
No, goody two-shoes, definitely.
Yeah, sure.
Is definitely, helping things.
So they start arguing about the baseball glove that Holden wrote about, and Holden asks what happens in the car, and
I can tell you what happened for free right here, right now. I'll have to be in the car.
it is not school appropriate.
No, it's very school appropriate.
Stop it.
No, it's...
Okay, so we don't talk about Fight Club. They got in a fight.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. So, a very common thing in depression is anger, or at least how it presents in men sometimes, because men aren't allowed to cry according to society. Yay.
Yeah, so the natural response is what's chapter 4 or 5 we saw Holden murder a window.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to murder each other.
Yeah, so if you don't know how to handle emotions, you just beat the crap out of each other. Right?
Works every time.
Yeah, that's one way to release the negative energy. I don't know. If he really likes fighting that much, he might invest in a punching bag and then tape a paste of his roommate on it and just go ham on it. Just go crazy and scream at it. Yeah.
After this incident, Holden comes to the realization Ackley probably heard the entire thing.
Yeah.
So...
Ackley's basically a roommate at this point. Like, at this point. Also, those walls, I feel like they have to be thin. At this point, yeah.
It's a dorm. It's a university, it's a private school.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I don't think it's going to have much
of
anything.
I feel like Holden would be one of those people that says snitches get stitches and end up in ditches.
Except you'd be the one with the stitches in the dishes. Considering.
But he would definitely say that.
Going on with the note with Ackley hearing the entire thing, this brings us to chapter 7. Ackley basically Holden falls into Ackley's room, mainly because Holden understandably has had enough with Stradlater. Ackley reasonably responds in a very concerned manner and somewhat angry. Maybe because it's 11 o'clock and you're trying to sleep.
And you have church in the morning.
Who needs church?
We're not going to open that can of worms.
Yeah, we're going to open the can of worms. I'm going to be canceled by the church eventually.
It's okay.
Ackley's roommate, he has one, is never at school. At the school's dorms, that is. He gets back Sunday night. Anyways, Ackley does invite Holden to sleep with him in the roommate's bed, as previously mentioned. The roommate is not properly there. Or is definitely not there, obviously. That'd be awkward. Anyway, Holden lives with Ackley, or tells, that's not a word. Holden lies to Ackley about what the fight was about and claims it was to defend Ackley's honor. All the guys in the school, and this brings us to the next point, all the guys in the school have talked about all the girls they've allegedly slept with, which is what the fight really started over.
Once again, allegedly.
No.
Well, with the guys at this school who they slept with. Allegedly. Anyway, keep going.
It's a Christian school. Any chance they get, they're gonna do something illegal.
Oh,
and
100%.
Very unchristiany. You don't need a Christian. I don't need to be partnered with a Christian student to understand that.
I went through my rebellious phase freshman year when I was finally free from the Catholic school. So yeah, being forced under stricter rules, I've learned from personal experience, causes you to, as soon as you get even the tiniest bit of freedom, to just go wild. Of course, I was just an angry person. I still am an angry person.
You still are. I'm not sure.
Just not as
angry.
angry.
You get the word from. You still are.
Not as angry.
Anyways, back to the important stuff.
No, I thought that was important.
Stradlater and Holden double date in a car. You can guess where this is going. Stradlater effectively is raping these girls.
Yay!
He doesn't care what happens to them.
He just keeps going until they're in pain.
Holden is somewhat respectable. Respectful. Yeah, I can word. During this conversation, Holden talks to Ackley about joining a monastery. Another Christian thing that no one seems to care about, but it's the 1930s or the 40s or whatever. So
40s, 50s. It's some time ago in a decade, not long before this. I'm kidding.
Anyways, stop talking.
Rude.
Thank you. Pensy, as we mentioned earlier, is a party house. Another way, I think that if it wasn't obvious, Stradlater kind of takes out his anger on his dates.
Oh God.
Very, very forcefully.
Oh God.
So there's that. Holden, after this conversation with Ackley, and after Ackley accuses Holden of being a Catholic, which isn't bad, but Holden, for some reason, takes offense over it.
I mean, justified taking offense.
Yeah. Holden decides he's gonna leave Pensy with his grandmother's money.
Respect. And speaking of leaving, that's where we go for chapter 8. So in chapter 8, is he on a train or a bus? Train? Okay,
because it's in first class, and they mentioned about.
Right. You're right. Train. Holden, does his grand getaway on a train, and he is caught flirting with an older woman.
This older woman happens to be a classmate's mother, who Holden, very, keeping to his, very goody, or he's not the goody two shoes, but keeping to his very Catholic Catholic manners.
Thou shalt not bear false witness who?
Well, let's be fair, what did he say? Do I have to, I don't remember the line, but I remember exactly something along the lines of what he said.
Yeah. Anyway, he lies being friends with the classmate, while talking to the mother. And this is my personal opinion. Holden has mommy issues, just put it plainly. Because this is not, as we see in a later chapter, in this section, it's not the only time he flirts with an older woman. Anyway, with Holden acting older than he is, he asks if the mother wants to have a drink with him, and she declines, reminding him that he is underage. And then Holden makes up another one of his lovely, lovely lies, that he is a tiny brain tumor.
Also worth mentioning that they've been smoking this entire time.
Yes, that too. That definitely not great. Yeah, so anyway. So yeah, in chapter 8, we established mommy issues. So some classic signs of mommy issues. feeling of inadequacy. I can't talk apparently. Anxiety in relationships. Intimacy is uncomfortable. Having high demands are critical. Strained relationship with your mother. A very high level of sensitivity to criticism.
Oh, so anytime I say, hey, you should probably do this better? Yes.
Oh my gosh. Issues with commitment. And needing for approval and affection difficulties. And yeah. Basically wanting a mother.
Basically wanting someone to care about you.
Yeah. The motherly figure. And why mommy issues occur. Overbearing parents, an unloving parent, an absent or mostly absent parent, neglectful treatment of the other parent by one parent, and a parent who abuses their children emotionally or physically. We do not know much about his home life, but it's possible that one of these situations occurred
It's also worth
at home.
Also worth noting, I'll get a little bit into chapter 9. He doesn't want to call home because his parents would answer the phone.
Yeah.
There's also that. Speaking of chapter 9, he's in New York. He gets into New York City.
NYC. Okay, I'll stop.
Fiddler's over. Musical season's done.
That's from Annie.
Musical season's done.
It's never over. Anyway, keep going.
Season at New York City, like we mentioned earlier, he doesn't want to call his parents or his house because his parents may answer. And worse still, his little sister may answer, which yes, he's a little sister.
Yeah.
That's revealed.
Yeah.
And if she answers the phone, then her parents would get upset at her, and it's just a mess at this point.
But at the same time, he does want to talk to his sister, so it's just like a loop of, I do want to do this, I don't want to do this. Anyway, keep going.
He also doesn't want to call his friend's mom because then the friend's
Parents
mom
gossip.
will call.
Hot take, parents gossip. I'm kidding.
Are you done?
They do, yeah.
Yeah, I know
I'll
that.
be quiet now.
I've noticed they've done that. I know. Anyways, Holden grabs a cab and basically zones out the entire day after that. Doesn't remember what address he gave the driver, but he ends up in a hotel in New York. During this time, he calls a former stripper because, to put it lightly, he's lonely. Too lonely. Proceeds to ask to go get a drink. When that fails, he remembers that a friend of his who goes to Princeton University, which is a college in New York.
Fancy.
Gave him an address to a person that he used to hang around with. Yeah.
Real fun
So
stuff.
naturally, at 11 o'clock at night, because apparently everything exciting happens at 11 o'clock, he goes to a telephone booth and calls her. It only takes him about 5 minutes for the girl to actually take him seriously, and they set up a date. Again, more parental issues can lead to hopping from person to person.
Commitment issues.
Yeah.
Commitment issues.
Again, and I think if it isn't evident enough, there's a reason why he didn't immediately call home. I don't know if that's because of trauma or abuse, or just because he's a slightly decent human being, but still, it wouldn't be recommended.
He's also acting very grown up for his age, because what?
He's like my age? 17, 18?
Yeah, I feel like 17, 18. He still has the little bit of the looseness of being a teenager.
Oh, I mean, how many people has he hung around?
Yeah, right. But he's doing very
Adulty things.
Yeah, adulty things. Yeah.
I.e., drinking, hitting up, hitting on, the same thing.
It's also possible with the drinking. This might be a bit of a stretch.
Is an addiction?
Oh, no, that's obvious. No. This is what a stretch is. It's possible that someone at home could have done, like, a lot of drinking in the past, and maybe he sees it as, like, normal. Oh, yeah, like a normal, healthy coping mechanism. It's not. Drinking is bad. Don't drink and drive. Stay in school, kids.
Are you speaking from experience, or?
I mean, does having a tiny sip of the wine at church count?
Isn't it grape juice?
Some churches do actual wine.
I know that, but I thought at least the Methodist church is grape juice.
No, Catholic churches do actual wine.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
They should be arrested then. That's illegal. I don't think it's illegal.
No, it's fine, because it's just a sip.
If it's communion wine, I think it's a different story.
Yeah.
We might have to cut that out.
Anyway, chapter 10. Holden is up at a reasonable hour now. Like, in the morning. Maybe.
We don't know, maybe.
We don't know. Just daytime. And he gets dressed, gets ready for a club, because clubs are definitely eventful in them, like, during the day. Probably, like, on a random Tuesday
They
afternoon.
probably are. I mean...
Gotta look the right place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Anyway, he thinks about calling home just because he misses his sister, and his sister also reminds him of Allie, so got that close sibling bond, Yeah, we're not gonna go in depth in that yet, but he doesn't want to deal with his parents. Holden calls himself the dumb one of the family, which I honestly feel that on a spiritual level.
Aren't you in like 3 AP classes?
I'm only in one.
Aren't you taking 3? Didn't you say you were taking like something?
I have a bunch of dual enrollment classes.
And then okay.
See, I might be smart academically, but I have like zero common sense.
We know this.
Yeah. I mean, I have some, but like zero. Anyway, so Holden thinks she's too affectionate, but like he just never shuts up about Phoebe. So
What's wrong with affection?
very affectionate. So hypocrite. Anyway, it's not really a bad thing.
What's that supposed to mean?
No. He says his sister's too affectionate, and then he is being affectionate towards her. It's like, oh my gosh, my sister.
How dare she show affection? I love her so much. Give me her now.
I want to see her now. Siblings. Yeah. So anyway.
Ew.
I know, right? Anyway, back to the hotel. So Holden's on his way to the club, and he sees a transvestite in the hotel. So Yas Queen, slay. That I feel like that has no relevance, but you gotta support the LGBTQ. Completely irrelevant though. Did you just?
No.
Okay.
I was making sure I knew what that meant.
Okay. Anyway, at the club, there are 3 girls. Holden thinks they're dumb and messes with them, and they're like laughing at everything, and he just charms them in general. Then he dances with the stereotypical dumb blonde.
Now, in this case, is she dumb? I don't think we have enough information on that.
Yeah, or she's just drunk.
But there's a good chance, considering where we are, that she's drunk. Or
Yay, day drinking.
you say that it's a bad thing.
Listen, I'm not judging.
You're judging.
Shut up. Anyway, keep going.
But also, you're in a club, you're dancing. You probably can't hear anyone next to you. Don't ever do that again. For reference, she began dancing right next to me. Anyways, yeah, there's... Please.
Loud music.
You probably won't be able to hear them.
Lots of booze.
Continue.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically all that happens. Holden did try to mess with the girls and say that he saw Gary Cooper, who, in case you don't know, was one of the heartthrobs of the era actor. How people simp for. Sorry, they're obsessed with Timothée Chalamet, or if you're me and I'm obsessed with Sebastian Stan. That's basically the equivalent of literally.
Stop fangirling, for the love of God.
Shut up. That's just the equivalent of a celebrity crush. Yeah, I just exposed myself. Yes, I do have a celebrity crush on Sebastian Stan, also known as Bucky Barnes in the MCU. Anyway.
Back with Gary Cooper, and then back in drawing connections. Remember how we talked about that Dan Cooper guy from like forever ago?
Oh, the DB Cooper
Yeah.
stuff.
We got DB in here, and we got a guy named Cooper. You're really doing a very good job, Dan, whoever you are,
Really
of hiding.
on those.
Oh, shit, to be fair.
Maybe he's just not creative. Oh my god, is there?
Well, to be fair, he put on his ticket Dan. The media messed it up and put DB,
Oh,
but he kind of went with it
yeah.
because there's DB. He put DB on it. I forget how it went, but he.
I don't know, but we talked
Anyways,
about that last episode.
We talked about last episodes in the past, but a lot of references to 1970s Shimano stuff.
Yay. Anyway,
But the chapters that we've mentioned, 5 or 6 through 10, in this episode, overall, they've basically forced Holden to grow up early, and with his physical appearance also sort of showing that,
yeah.
but also coping with things that happened.
Like death,
and you can see some of the
depression.
some of his I wouldn't say trauma dumping, but release of it.
Like relief, like
Release of it.
I guess coping skill.
Yeah,
Like how?
that.
Yeah.
Coping skills come in the form of anger and angst.
Yay.
Whether that being trying to beat the snot out of your roommate,
Or breaking windows.
but that happened in chapter 5 as well. He broke
Oh,
when
yeah.
Brenda, his late brother's death. Yeah, brother's.
Yeah, but
death.
my guy definitely has anger issues, and it also, this could have been just me projecting a little bit with my brothers, but Holden might feel like he has unrealistic expectations compared to his siblings, like his older brother DB. Like he's a big hotshot Hollywood writer, and Phoebe is just like a smart kid in general.
Darling.
What?
Everyone's darling.
Yeah. And, like, everyone loves her, including Holden. But, like, he could view himself as, like, average. Like, I know that feeling of feeling average, and it sucks. Like, compared to your siblings. Because everyone's, like, sometimes people might seem, like, your family is so awesome, but then you just are there, and you feel average. But this is not therapy. This is episode 2 of Defender in the Wheat. I'm Grace Smith.
And I'm Richard Lehman.
Thanks for listening.